All right, let's get started with creating this project. In the document area right now, you can see that I have the celebration graphic that we created in the last video. I'll click on that to select it. You can see that I've gotten rid of all of the extra backgrounds or new layers. I'm sorry, got rid of all the new layers that I created in the last video. Now I'm going to start off with the red balloon image here, and I want to get that into my celebration graphic file. And I've kind of set it up this way so you can actually see what makes up this red balloon image. All right, we've got a red balloon on a separate layer, and if I just left this like that, then you would have seen yet more transparent background stuff going on in the pieces image that I showed you of all the components and all that kind of stuff. But this allows me to actually show you that we have something called color fill adjustment layers. All right, and we can get into that a little bit later on. Right now I just want to deal with the drag and drop aspect of things, so I'm going to turn the layer visibility of that back on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have the move tool as my currently active tool. That is the tool that I default to when I'm not doing anything, or if I'm in between doing things and I'm kind of deciding what it is I want to do, or if I need to take a break for whatever reason, then generally what I'll do is I'll go and select the move tool, do a file save, and then walk away from my document. That way when I come back to my Photoshop document, all right, in my mind, I've always got the move tool as my default tool, and so then I know where I can actually start to go with things. All right, so now using the move tool, I want to move the balloon over to the celebration graphic. All right, so if we can just click on this and now start to drag, and you can see that I'm starting to drag, all right, the balloon layer to the left in the balloon document, and you can see in the layers panel where you can see that the balloon is moving around. All right, okay, so now as soon as I get my cursor over into the destination document, you're going to see a little faded rectangle. That means that if I was to let go at this point in time, then my red balloon would be, to some extent anyways, inside this guy there. And there it is. It's just hanging off the edge because that's all I dragged it in. It's as far as that. All right. Now what I can do is just reposition this anywhere I want. If you're looking at this image and looking at the red balloon in the celebration graphic, and you're looking at the balloon over in the original image, you're saying, why are they two different sizes? Just take a look up here, and I'm viewing this as 100%, and I'm only viewing this graphic at 50%. That's why it is half the size. All right. So now when I drag using the move tool like this, one of the things that's really neat is that Photoshop maintains the file name, right, or at least the layer name when I drag over. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so there we go. If I come over here, I've got the red balloon, so I don't have to rename it. I don't have to do any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm done with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this off, and I'm not going to save any changes. And I'm going to come under here and I'm going to get the green balloon. And now what I want to do is I want to show you another way to get this guy in here. So the last time what I did was I used the move tool and I dragged from within the document window over to my destination document window. Well, this time I want to show you that I can actually drag from my layers panel all the way over, and you can see here that I'm going to drop the green balloon in here, and you can see that I'm dragging from a layer because you see the faded thing of the layer. Now the question is, where is this going to be placed? And if I'm not mistaken, it's wherever your cursor is. Yes, wherever your cursor is. And I can reposition this and put this down here as an example. All right, and inside the layers panel, green balloon, all right, maintained from the original green balloon layer. All right, so that's what we call drag and drop. All right, so now I'm going to close this off, and then I'm going to open up the blue balloon, all right, and I'm going to come over here, and now what I want to do is I want to show you the ability to copy and paste, if you will. All right, so now I have this layer as my currently active layer, and I want to copy and paste. All right, it's very simple. Select all. All right, we have to select everything in the Photoshop file. So select all, puts marching ants all around there. And because I'm only on this one layer, All right. If I came over here and chose copy, and then come over to this layer, this document here, and if I choose edit paste, there we go, we have this guy sitting right there. All right. Now, something else I want to show you, all right, that's not in the handout, is if I wanted to bring over a multi-layered file, and I obviously don't want to have it flattened so it still is a multi-layered file, but I want to bring the background as well with the marching ants and with the top layer selected in this case anyways. I'm going to come over here and choose copy merged. And what it does is it kind of looks at everything in the stacking order and says, I'm going to pretend that you're flattened or merged down, and I'm going to copy everything. So now when I come over to this document here, and if I choose paste, it's going to not only paste, all right, the blue balloon, but it's also going to paste the cream colored background as well. All right, you see how that happened? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of that guy, and I'm going to drag this down to the trash can. Now, something else I want you to pay attention to, and that is when you do the copy and paste, see, Photoshop's not aware of names or components or anything like that in your layers panel, so it just goes ahead and creates this guy called layer 1. So we have to name our layers. I think it's a very good practice to get in the habit of, and there we go. So now I've shown you that we do a drag and drop, we do a copy and paste. All right, so now that we've done the copy and paste, now I want to show you just, well, all right, if I wanted to, all right, and I want to show you this. All right, this is really important. This is one of those things that you need to, I guess, need to know. All right, and that is that if we were to do the copy and paste, all right, what happens is Photoshop takes the center of what you've copied and paste it in the center of the destination document. All right, if there was an easy way for me to show you where the absolute middle of this document is, you would find that the absolute middle of the balloon layer is in the absolute middle of this. And that's very, very important to know. All right, so just know that is what's going on. All right, so now what I want to do is, you notice that these balloons are semi-transparent, and I want to increase the density. And if I just were to turn off the visibility of the background layer there, you can actually see some of the checkerboard through the balloons. All right, that these balloon layers are at 100% opacity, but they were created, all right, with that semi-transparent stuff in them, because that's what balloons are. They're semi-transparent, so they didn't want, whoever created these didn't want them to be totally solid, and I think that's a fantastic thing. But I want to increase the density. Okay, so one way to increase the density of your balloons is to make a duplicate of this. So if I just drag this down to the new layer icon, you can see now I've increased the density. All right, kind of neat, eh? I think that's kind of cool. Now, I want this to have that added density all the time. All right, so instead of being semi-transparent like that, I want this to have that solidness, if you will. So what I want to do is I want to join these two layers together. There's a couple of ways we can do it. We can come over to the options menu here and choose merge down. Or I can come over to the layer menu and come all the way down to the bottom and choose merge down. All right, choosing merge down, now you can see I only have one blue balloon layer in here. All right, but there you go. All right, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm possibly going to bring in the yellow balloon just to have the yellow balloon sitting here as well. And I'm wondering, is there yet another way that I can actually get this guy to go in? Well, probably not, so I'm just going to drag him over and put him in there. There you go. So this guy here is yellow balloon, and he's on top of that. But I don't want the yellow balloon to be on top of the green balloon. I want the yellow balloon to be below. So what I'm going to do is in the layer stack, just click and drag and place this behind. All right, so there we go. And I'm going to leave that semi-transparency stuff alone because you've already seen how that works. All right, so now I'm just going to click on this to get rid of that. Click on this to get rid of that. I'm going to come back down here and click on the background. All right, and then, what else could I possibly do? I'm going to save this in a second, but I want to talk about something else. And that something else is the layers that you currently have selected affect how the next thing is drag and dropped or copy and pasted in. All right, so as an example, I have the green balloon layer selected, and if I was to choose Edit Paste, don't forget, all right, don't forget that we still have something sitting on Photoshop's clipboard. All right, and that is the blue layer, or blue balloon, with the cream colored background. And because I had the green balloon layer as my currently active layer, then Photoshop placed, all right, the new element that was being pasted in on that currently active layer. So knowing that in advance, you can actually have the appropriate layer selected for the next move that you are going to do in Photoshop. All right, so I'm going to actually just get rid of that because it's not really all that necessary to have that. But anyways, now I've got that there, so I'm going to get rid of this guy there. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to show you how to make another duplicate layer. Okay, so now making another duplicate layer is going to be easy as 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'm going to select, as an example, the balloon layer here, and I have the move tool selected because I'm still in the process of creating things and I'm moving things around. All right, I want to make another blue balloon layer. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make I'm going to duplicate all of these balloons, and I'm going to make them smaller, and I'm going to kind of rotate them a little bit so that they look like they are in the distance. Okay, so rather than leave my document area, come over here, click and drag down, and then get the duplicate, then come back over here and reposition, all right? Because I have the Move tool selected, and I have the right layer selected, all I have to do is hold down the Option or Alt key. All right, when I do that, you can see that my cursor changes from the black arrowhead with the directional symbol to a black arrowhead sitting on top of a white arrowhead. And now what this means is I can actually drag and make a copy and place it in the specific location I want to as I'm going about doing this. All right, that is known as dragging a copy, if you will. All right, and then what that Photoshop does is it just appends the word copy onto this guy here. All right, so now the next thing I want to do is I want to, scale her down and then rotate it so, like I said, it looks like it's further back. All right, so I'm going to go into the Edit menu, and I'm going to come over here and choose Free Transform. All right, I could choose the Edit Transform and then choose Scale or Rotate or any of these guys here, but I think you're going to find that choosing the Free Transform by itself will do 90% of the things that you want to do. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to scale this down, and since I don't want to distort the pixels, what I need to do is hold the Shift key when I grab one of the corners. All right, so I'm just going to grab one of the corners here. I'm going to scale this down. And what I'm also doing is I am keeping my eye in the panel up at the top, the Options panel, where you see the W and the H. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to escape out of this, and I'm going to say, watch this. When I do the Free Transform, when I invoke the Free Transform, you're going to see that we have a width and a height. Now, as I'm scaling this down, I don't know exactly, this is a visual thing, I don't know exactly what I want to scale her down to, but it's always nice just to know that I'm now down at 70%. All right, and I come down here and I'm at 50%. And I'm wondering, is 50 or close to 60 is good enough? That's fine. I mean, it's a visual thing, but it's also nice to know. Now, I also said that I wanted to rotate this guy, and you can see that the cursor, all right, when I have the transform bounding box going on here, all right, my cursor, when I place it inside, allows me to reposition this. All right. When I have my cursor outside the box, I get the double-headed bent arrow thing, which just means I can actually rotate things. All right. Now, I can't do anything else in Photoshop until I either accept this transformation or reject it. And here are the accept and reject. All right. So this would be your accept, confirm transformation. This is your Ghostbuster symbol. Cancel it. Well, I want to accept it. Now, there's other ways to do that as well. You can actually just double click inside, or you could theoretically just hit the enter or return key. All right. So now that I have that guy sized the way I want and rotated the way I want, what I might want to do is possibly make many other copies. All right. So that being said, I can now come over here and click on this guy, and I'm going to hold down the Option key and just move this guy over to here. I'm going to come in and do a free transform. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and this time, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to come over here and click on this, and I'm going to type in here 60. All right. Now, I'm not going to click on this to get this thing to be accepted. I'm just going to double click inside. All right. Now, that guy is going to be sitting kind of like, as an example, this. And then I'm going to come back over to this guy and click on there. Now, something else I want to, all right, so I'm going to go back to this guy just for a second. Something else I want to show you is at this point, when I want to actually choose different things over there, I'm deliberately coming over here and choosing the different layers. Well, with the Move tool currently selected, there is something up in the Options panel called the Auto Select. And if I click on that, I want you to take a look at the Layers panel as I click on here. I currently have the green copy layer as my currently active layer, but if I click on the yellow balloon here, that is the layer that gets selected. If I come over here and click on the red balloon, that's the one that gets selected. All right, it's really handy when you're doing this kind of stuff, but it is annoying if you forget that you have that turned on and you're working with another file, and all of a sudden you think you're just going to click and drag and move something, and all of a sudden you're moving another different layer. So just be mindful that you actually have turned that on. All right, so now with this guy selected, I'm just going to Option drag and put this guy over here, and free transform, Command T. All right, and I'm just going to scale this guy down, and this one's going to be just a little bit smaller, and I'm going to rotate this guy a little bit this way, and I'm going to hit the Enter key to get that to be accepted. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and click on this guy, and I'm going to drag this guy over to here, edit, free transform, hold the Shift key down. I'm going to come in from here. Actually, I want to show you something else. This is kind of cool. All right. So you've seen me grabbing the corner handles, and I'm scaling down to the opposite corner. All right. As an example, if I hold down the Shift key and come here, I'm dragging down to the opposite corner. I'm just going to escape out of that and then get back in so I can show you this. Now, if I liked where this balloon is kind of positioned, I just need it to be smaller. In this case, that is the case. Then if I if I hold the Shift key and drag from a corner, I will scale in and maintain the aspect ratio. But if I also hold down the Option or Alt key and drag from any corner, I will scale to the center of my file. Kind of cool, eh? Double click, there we go, and reposition. All right, so you're starting to see how this is working out. Now what I want to do is possibly have another one over here, and click on this guy and have another one of these guys kind of in here, and then move this guy over to here, and then Command T, and I'm going to shrink this guy down a little bit more just so he's not 100% identical to the other one there, and this guy here is going to come in and go here, and I'm going to Command T, and I'm going to shrink this guy down just a little bit like this. And I need to have something else in there, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Red, green, yellow, blue, whatever. All right, so I'm just going to put this guy in here, and I'm going to free transform. I'm going to rotate this guy so he's falling the other way, and then I'm just going to scoot him up a little bit more, make it a little bit smaller, and there you go. All right, so that is, what a mess. I mean, look at this thing. It's everything. Everything is everywhere. Holy Christopher. All right, I got to restart, positioning this stuff around a little bit differently here. So I'm just going to drag this guy over here. I'm going to drag this one over here. I think what I'm going to do is, if I click on that, And then now which one's that? That's the red copy. And if I come over here and click on this, now I'm going to have to come in here and start clicking on these different things or just moving them separately. I'll move them separately. It's a lot easier. All right. And that's that. Put that in behind. That guy goes down there. This one kind of in here. Kind of like that. Okay. So now you can see that I've got quite a frickin' mess going on in here. So I need to clean up this a little bit. All right. And what I want to do is I want to introduce to you some layer management because gosh, this thing really needs layer management. In the next movie, we'll talk about controlling the mess that we have over in our layers panel. All right. Folder management in your layers in the next movie.